anger committee.
Hey, welcome back to another Leaving the Ring Quick Takes. I'm your boy Dave Duenas, aka 97 Rough. Let's talk some boxing here, man. Actually, it's not a whole lot about boxing. Well, it is, it pertains to boxing. I got emails about Canelo's confrontation with Demetrius Andrade, and same thing, about the fiasco of Floyd Mayweather losing his cap to Jake Paul because Floyd's going to be fighting his older brother Logan Paul next month on pay-per-view Showtime. And I figured, why, instead of me just writing it all down, what's up, Nado? How you doing, brother? I'm glad you're up and tuning in and stuff, bro. Rather than me writing back to everybody that's hitting us up on the Leaving the Ring Gmail, I just figured I'd do a quick video about it, quick podcast about it, and give you my takes about the two situations, okay? Obviously on Saturday night, Canelo did a tremendous job in stopping Billy Joe Saunders, BJ Saunders. He broke that orbital bone and shattered it. The guy had to go to the emergency. He had a surgery on it. His powers definitely has shown up for Canelo at 168. I tweeted out just the other day, was it evident at 140, 147, 154? You knew he was getting stronger at 160, but his power has definitely showed up at 168. So he is settling into that division. And if you listen to Monday's show, I said, look, right now it looks like nobody can beat this guy at 168. Now, let's move past that. After the fight, he's doing this press conference and he's going to answer all the media's questions. Is Caleb Plant next? The unification fight is what that's what he's been campaigning. Is it going to happen? And in the midst of everything, Demetrius Andrade shows up and decides to crash the party. Now, listen, I ain't got no problem with that. Plenty of fighters have done that in history. Okay, remember Aaron Pryor getting up on the podium and asking Sugar Ray Leonard, "Hey, what's up, man? Like, when am I gonna get my fight?" It's happened. Antonio Tarver, even though Antonio Tarver had really cleaned out the division, so he had more right than Andre to do that. But you know what? Sometimes you got to do what you have to do to get the fights. What's up, Run PMC? How you doing, brother? Here's my thing with this though. Like, I don't have a problem with that. And let's play a soundbite about what happened. Okay, how it all went down really quick here.
You won the belt with nobody. Man, get the fuck out of here, man. Please.
Okay, first off, I like the fact that there was no chill with Canelo at all. Okay, my thing is this, Demetrius. Okay, and it's all shits and giggles here, but bro, how do you let somebody clown you that doesn't even speak your language? Like, how do you allow a guy that just learned from his primos all the bad words in English to stop you in the tracks? Now, granted, you were being respectful. I'm gonna give you that. He was being respectful. You guys can't say he wasn't. But you should have had a better comeback than with Canelo. He was like, motherfucker, let's
Please get the Fuck out of here, man. It's my night.
Dile que es mi
It's
nombre.
like,
Who I'm fighting?
Demetrius, not the
Get
press
the
conference.
fuck out of here, man. Get the fuck out of
Madre
here.
ahorita de una vez, dile.
Fuck you, man.
fuck you, man. It's all fuck you, man. Again, man, I thought it was hilarious because not just because the way Canelo shut him down, but he shut him down in English. And I'm like waiting for Demetrius to come back with something clever. You should have more words. You know, you should be able to put a better sentence out there to cap back at Canelo Alvarez. And my mom did too, you know, and you didn't even do it. You had your opportunity to fire back, in a clever way, because you obviously have no more words and you can put more syllables together than Canelo word, which is "get the fuck out of here, motherfucker." How do you let a paisa, honestly, how do you let a paisa that learn these words from his primos in San Diego shut you down and leave you kind of speechless, man? That I don't know who jumped in. It was his pops or his grandfather, you know, who decided to get in the mix and got heated and started cussing back at Canelo, telling him "F you." But you know, Canelo was just like, you know, "Fuck you, motherfucker, fuck you, fuck out of here, man."
Hey, get the fuck out of here because I'm gonna fuck you out right now, motherfucker.
I've heard that so many times from my mom, man, when I screwed up. "I'm gonna fuck you up." So many times I've heard that from familia. You know, my mom didn't speak fluent English. It's a second language. She tried really hard, which you got to give credit to Canelo is doing it as well. You know, and maybe that's what it was. Maybe that Demetrius Andre got stunned, you know, that Canelo was firing back in English. He didn't have a translator who would have screwed it up. You imagine if his translator was there and Canelo was telling that translator things in Spanish, that translator would probably try to clean it up as best he could. But, you know, Canelo was like, no business with all business going after Demetrius. And, you know, again, I have no issue with Andre showing up and trying to crash the party, even though Canelo was like, "Look, it's my time." And he said it in perfect English. "It's my time," okay? Kudos to Canelo. It's all, you know, jokes here, man, okay? Great that he's learning English. Great that he's learning the bad words and he's, like, putting some oomph. You know, like the way he's putting the power behind his punches. He was putting power behind those words to Demetrius Andre. I just wanted Andre to fire back, bro. I mean, if you didn't even put up a fight in that press conference, what makes you believe that you're going to put up a fight if he gave it a shot at 160 or 160 or anything like that, at any weight, a catch weight even, that you're going to put that much effort, you know? And I get it. He's a gentleman. Demetrius Andre is a gentleman. And he was being a gentleman that night. But I was like, bro, come on. Fire back at the guy. He should even try to use, you know, I'm pretty sure Demetrius has heard some Spanish word. He could have called Canelo a culero, a puto, something back at him that would have, you know, kept him in the conversation. Right? But, no.
A ver.
Oh, look this guy.
Look this guy.
Next.
Hey, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
Ah, chinga tu madre.
Hey, you fight with nobody, man. You won
No les hagas caso.
You
No le
won.
hagas caso, güey. No le hagas.
And his trainer, who's saying, "No, like Caso," who's like, you know, saying, you know, don't pay any attention to him. But Canelo, you know, I think Andre got in underneath Canelo's skin, especially with that shirt. You see that shirt that he showed up in? I don't know if you guys saw that shirt. You know, he said, "Hey, Canelo and BJ Saunders is scared of me." Let me see what Nado's saying here in the chat room. Shout out to Nado. Shout out to LT. What's up, brother? Is a good dude. Yeah, Andre's a good dude. That gets let down the wrong road by his pops consistently. Yeah, look, I mean, his pops helped him get signed to Star Boxing, and look what happened with his career. You know, but look, this aggressive approach from Andre has showed me he's actually now trying to take his career back into his hands. You know, and I'm all for that. I'm all for a fighter calling a guy out. He's got a belt. Forget the fact that he hasn't fought anybody, honestly. BJ Saunders' resume is far better than Demetrius, right? But the truth is that nobody really wants to fight the kid. Doesn't really want to, get in there with him, And like I said, I have no gripe that he wants to show up and crash the party and get underneath Canelo's skin. But I'm like, dude, if this is your plan to show up to the press conference after Canelo made Saunders retire on the stool, and this redheaded Mexican kid fires at you in this fashion?
You won the belt with nobody. Man, get the fuck out of here, man. Please. Please, get the fuck out of here, man. It's my night.
Dile que es mi night.
Who I'm fighting?
Demetrius. Not the
Get
press
the fuck out of here, man. Get the fuck out of here.
Ahorita de una vez, dile.
Fuck you, man.
Oh, shit. Oh, man, that was great. Get the fuck out of here, man. How many times have you heard that from an uncle or, going to some paisa bar or something like that? They get pissed at you. Get the fuck out of here, man. Right? And you have no answer for that. You get no answer. Demetrius had no answer for that. Like I said, it could have been he got stunned because it wasn't really. I mean, you can't even say it's not out of character for Canelo. He has fired back at guys. Gennady Golovkin got underneath his skin, but he was saying it in Spanish, and he had to have a translator there. Here he is right now, and he's now learning these words. Look, he's got Andy Ruiz there. Ryan Garcia. He's in San Diego. He spent a lot of time here in the States already. So he's catching on to the words that he knows are that if he wants to insult somebody, he's going to do it. Now, my thing is about this is some folks are like, either Canelo was being really rude or Demetrius is really, really rude and this and that. I mean, shit, guys, this is the fight game. Nobody in a white hat with a white suit is going to kick through the door to get what they want. Timothy Bradley comes to mind. Even Sean Porter comes to mind. Here was guys that try to play the good boy role, especially Porter, try to play the good guy role, all smiles and grins and never saying a bad thing about anybody. But then eventually realize, what, I ain't getting anywhere with this shit. I got to go out there and I got to, what's up, Jose? How you doing, brother? I got to go out there and I got to, put some bass in my voice. Get folks to turn around and notice me, And here Demetrius shows up to steal the show, and guess what?
Hey, get the fuck out of here because I'm gonna fuck you out right now, motherfucker.
A ver.
Oh.
The redheaded kid stole the show. The redheaded kid took your opportunity away from you. Think about that. You showed up to crash the party and you were escorted out by the bouncers before you could even get through the door, with Canelo's words. You weren't even prepared. Again, I don't know what's going through your head, and maybe that's not, part of Demetrius' personality. Maybe. It wasn't part of Timothy Bradley's personality. I remember when I had him, he was going to fight Nate Campbell. The Galaxy Warrior that had them both on at the same time. And the Galaxy Warrior was, clowning the kid, making fun of his reception on his phone, telling him to stop, you need to stop messing around with those Metro phones. Timothy Bradley had no words back. And Demetrius Andrade obviously showed that he had no words back. He need help. He need help in a verbal fight. Couldn't counter it. That his team had to jump in to help him verbally against a very limited, remember that, very limited English-speaking person. Very limited. Didn't use a whole lot of words, Canelo is motherfucker, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, look at this guy.
Look at this guy.
Next.
Hey, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
And you were lost with words that another guy who was your pops, I believe, stepped in and wasn't even clever in the comeback. There was no cleverness in this comeback. There was no creativity, you know? Nothing. Clubber Lang, which Nado was mentioning right now, Clubber Lang from Rocky, right? And brought that up. Clubber Lang had a better rap, even though it was scripted, right? It was written before the guy, you know, Mr. T had the chance to read those, but I'm pretty sure Mr. T ad-libbed some of the things. But that's what Demetrius should have, hey man, could have pulled off with the what was it, McKennedy, when he was going after Barrera, and he was telling Barrera, I'm gonna hit you so hard you're gonna speak English. Could have said something like that, Demetrius. Reach out to us, man. Reach out to us over here on Leaving the Ring. You know, I'll get myself or some of the guys in the chat room. They'll write you up a script of how to, you know, throw back at Canelo Alvarez when he tells you to.
Hey, you fight with nobody.
Get the fuck out of here. I gotta tell you, man. Oh boy. Holy shit. G Funky, ¿qué pasó? How you doing, brother? How you doing, man? Thanks for joining me. You know, I'm just busting your balls, Demetrius. You know, I am, but I am not. You know, I'm from a part of the Bay Area, man, where that's all we did all day in the playground, on the schoolyard, in front of our homes, at the nightclub, cruising night. You know, we all just count. I think it's a Mexican thing. It's a Mexican thing, as well as it's a black thing, right? We all clown on each other. Cap or whatever the kids call it nowadays. Back in my days, it was clown and cap. You know, I'm just capping on you, bro. Right? And again, I just think that you let this redheaded kid who you came in through the door. You came in through the door. And you were ready to disrupt and get underneath the skin of Canelo Alvarez. And he did the Jedi mind trick on you, bro. He did the Jedi mind trick on you, and he did it with very limited English words.
Man,
again, I'll play.
You won
No les hagas caso.
You
No le
won-
hagas caso, güey. No le hagas caso.
You won the belt with nobody. Man, get the fuck out of here, man. Please. Please, get the fuck out of here, man. It's my night.
It's my night,
Dile
cabrón.
que es mi nombre.
Déjame en
Who am
paz.
fighting?
Demetrius. Not the
Get
press
the
conference.
fuck out of here, man. Get the fuck out of here.
Even Eddie Hearn, his promoter, you know, trying to save him because we saw that Canelo took over. Canelo like grabbed it, you know, and which, you know what, check this out. Here's the thing about Canelo. When Canelo came out here to the States, he was a very docile guy, real quiet, didn't say a whole lot, kind of robotic. He was kind of like Oscar De La Hoya in the beginning of his career. You know, Oscar was very prepped, rehearsed what he was gonna say, so everything was always the same. You know, he didn't go out of script. He always, Canelo always stayed he gave you just a little bit, enough that you could, put it up on YouTube, write an article about it, but nothing too much. Now that since this guy has got into his prime at 168, unifying this division, ain't the greatest division. I've said that before. You can argue with me about it all you want, but it ain't the greatest division. But since he's done this, and he's doing something nobody's done, forget the fact that he's Mexicano and he's trying to do something no Mexican's done, but nobody's done it at 168, which is historical, right? And he's opened up. You're now seeing who this kid really is. He came into the game with Golden Boy when he got signed on to fight here in the States, and he was PR'd pretty good. They were looking for a clean-cut image. Don't be too outlandish. try to say the PC words, try to be, likable to all. Well, now he's king. And you know what they say, once you're the king of the hill, man, you could basically do whatever the F you want.
Fuck you, man. Hey, get the fuck out of here because I'm gonna fuck you out right now, motherfucker.
And that's exactly how he's behaving. King of the hill. Whether you like it or not, doesn't matter anymore because he's the guy to chase down and beat. He's the guy that everybody's looking to face. Eventually, cruiserweights are going to be calling this guy out. Remember when Pacquiao was the man to beat? Even Floyd Mayweather. Everybody. I remember interviewing Yorkis Gamboa at 126 pounds, and Floyd was fighting at 147. Yorkis Gamboa said, my dream is to fight Floyd Mayweather. And I looked at him like, really? Holy smokes. So when you're the cash cow and you're the king of the hill, you can now really show your true colors. And his true colors came out, which is like, you know what? He's really tired of the bullshit. He's really tired of like trying to be PC and, be this darling of the sport. And he's definitely doesn't want to be Oscar De La Hoya. Whereas like Ryan Garcia, you could tell it's not organic. And, and that doesn't necessarily come across great to boxing fans. I mean, I think that's why nobody really embraced like Andre Ward, certain fighters, they wanted that clean cut, good old boy image. Floyd did it for a long time, when he was in the lightweight division, when he was with Top Rank. And then he realized, you know what? The nice guys don't finish last. So Demetrius finally figured that out because his career has been in the back burner for how many goddamn years? How many years is this guy stepping on his own dick? And now he's like, you know what? I need to make noise. Even when he was commentating. Remember that? He was on the zone commentating, for, the Gennady Golovkin fight. He was being vocal about it. Yep, there you go. Say hello to the bad guy, man. Okay? Get the fuck out of here, man. That's pretty much how Canelo should have came off. He should have had like a black suit on with black with the red shirt and a big old mountain of cocaine right there, right?
Oh, look at this guy.
Look at this guy.
Next.
Hey, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Ah, chinga tu madre. Hey.
Chinga tu madre. Oh man, it's been done. It's been years, and I still feel like Andre just fought Brian Rose. That's how insufficient his resume has been. Yeah. Bradford Boxing said it's all his fault for not taking fights like the Charlo offer. Yeah, it is. It is. But again, you can't fault the guy trying to go out there, crash the party. But my point is that you didn't really crash the party. You let a guy verbally take you out that was limited in his English speaking. You should have been more clever. You should have had more in the bag of throwing back at Canelo Alvarez, but you didn't. You didn't. So who wins this round? Who wins this mentally? If they were to fight, Canelo. And people are like, oh, you know what? Nobody even knew who this guy is. Casual fans didn't even know who this guy is. Now they do. But that was the intention. Do you think he was going to show up for nobody to know who he was? How stupid is that to even think that? How dumb is that to even bring that up? Right? Thanks, Jose. I really appreciate that, brother. You know what I mean? It's like, that was the intention, to create a buzz. And you could also even say like Demetrius was trying to be too PC with his career. Didn't get him anywhere. gave him no F's. Finally gave no F's about it, and he came out trying to show up like Canelo, but Canelo took it right back, countered, and even stopped him on his stool. Think about it. He beat up Billy Joe Saunders so bad that Billy Joe decided to stay on the stool. Didn't want to continue, which rightfully so. His eye socket was destroyed. Got to live another day, right? You don't want to leave everything in the ring that you can never return, or you can't see your kid, you go blind, there's all these effects, right? Canelo comes out to a press conference to answer questions and to talk about the potential September fight with Caleb Plant to unify the 168 division. That's never been done. And Demetrius comes out aggressive, and Canelo makes him quit on his stool that his team of Andre had to jump in to save him on a limited, I keep saying it over and over, a limited guy that speaks English. And I was like, holy shit. I'm starting to like Canelo more and more. I was very critical of the guy. Hey, the guy hung up on me because I was asking tough questions. When he was at 154 and he was making guys jump up to face him. Now, I bet you if I could get him on, which I doubt I can get him on now, I think it's pretty tough to try to get him on. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a huevon. El huevon and mamon. They're not to try to get a hold of him. But I think now if I interviewed him, I think it'd be a little bit different. I think it'd be a no hold bars type of interview because he'd be willing to answer some of the things that he did on that one interview, which I was surprised of how open he got because trust me, if you interviewed him, I've interviewed him in person, I've interviewed him on the phone. Guy was pretty PC, made sure that he chose his words correctly. Now,
you fight with nobody, man. You won
No les hagas caso.
You
No le
won.
hagas caso, güey. No le hagas caso.
You won the belt with nobody, man. Get the fuck out of here, man. Please.
Killed him with you fought nobody. You're a champion and you fought nobody. That killed him already. That killed him. When Demetrius could have said, my man, you were at 160, you could have fought me, but you didn't. You left. You ran. You scared. Then his miedo, he could have said puto, something in Spanish to counter him with some English words, but he didn't do it. He was stunned. So first round right now goes to Canelo Alvarez again on a TK. No, it was a KO. Stopped him in his stool. This Papa had to jump in and save him and try to cuss out Canelo Alvarez. Right? That's my thought about that, man. I figured that, like I said, instead of emailing everybody about it, of what my thoughts were and what do I think about the kick in the door with my fofo, type of style, Biggie Smalls, way Andre trying to enter in the room like that. I was like, he might have entered like that, but Canelo was like, not here, bro. It ain't gonna happen here, Not gonna happen on my night. The only way Andre gets Canelo is the Usyk. It's the Usyk WBO mandatory route. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Because you know what? Look, he gets the Caleb Plant fight, which I was actually talking to again to one of his guys. And they were like, no, man, we're ready for it. He's strong, but they think they can outbox him. That's what they're hoping and planning and training for, to outbox Canelo Alvarez. Now, easier, said than done, right? But if Canelo, and I always put an if because it's boxing. There's no crystal ball. Not everybody gets their picks always right, and it's not always a for sure thing. Okay, Bernard Hopkins could attest to that. He stopped Tito Trinidad, even though Tito Trinidad on the middleweight tournament looked like a monster. Puerto Rican hurricane, and he was able to, stop that momentum and put it to a halt. I always try, man, here and there, brother. You know what I'm saying? So I think that if Canelo finishes that 168, gets it, I am pretty sure the third match with Triple G may happen, may not. It really depends on how Gennady Golovkin is going to look if he returns, because that's a big if. And then if Canelo needs time to settle, not even settle, just have some fights in between because he wants to stay busy, I don't see why he wouldn't get in with Andre if Andre jumps up. Or if Canelo decides, hey, I'm going to try to go back to 160, I'll go after this guy's title. It's a possibility, I just think that there's bigger fish to fry for Canelo Alvarez right now. There's just bigger things for him to try to get in there. Charlo, obviously, if he moved up, and David Benavidez, David Morrell, Berlanga. I mean, these are potential fights down the road for Canelo Alvarez. A year or two. I mean, the guy says he's got a few years left in him, right? Okay, so let's move on, man. Enough talk about Canelo Alvarez and Demetrius Andre and what happened in that press conference. Like I said, if I had to score it, it was a 10-8 for Canelo on the same night on Saturday. That happened on the zone, right? Now, on that week, you had Floyd Mayweather doing his press conference, an announcement for his upcoming fight, which I believe is like June, I don't know, guys, help me out. What is it, 15 something, June 5, I don't know, June 5th, 9, I don't even know. I just know it lands on a Sunday. It's on Showtime. It's pay-per-view with Logan Paul, not Jake Paul. And you want to talk about guys that need to brush up on their skills on capping people. I mean, Floyd is kind of like, he's really taken a step back. You remember how he used to come out and just take complete control in his press conferences. He's really not even doing that anymore. He's not even doing that. But this kid Logan pretty much was just trying to mimic everything that Conor McGregor did that, the times that Floyd and him faced off. Oh, you can't read. You can't. It's like, come on, guys, come up with some better shit. Come up with some new shit, right? But that's not what I wanted to talk about, because that's not what folks wanted me to talk about when they were emailing me. They were asking me about, okay, now the confrontation, which started with Floyd Mayweather, on stage, and saying that he could beat up both brothers, Jake and Logan, on the same night, and was telling Ellerby, get the contract for these bums. Keep calling them bums too, okay? And he said, I fight real fighters. If I was up there, if I was, Logan, and I heard this guy say, I fight real fighters, I would have said, then what the fuck you fighting me for? If I'm not a real fighter, why are you fighting me, Floyd? How does that make you look? But these kids are not that kid is not that quick. He's not that quick on his feet the way like Demetrius Andre was quick on the feet. Wasn't quick on his feet. Canelo, I mean, he needed Canelo at that press conference. Canelo would have put Floyd in the check. Canelo would have been, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here, right? So anyways, it goes on to, now they're walking out of the stadium, off the field, off the stage, off the field, going back into the stadium, whatever. Was it Miami's Dolphins, something like that, right? And Jake Paul shows up and is like, hey, hey, you were calling me out too? Like, you want to fight me? And Floyd, because Floyd was doing some interviews, right? He turns, he looks at the guy, and he's like, yeah, you know what? And again, it goes to Papa Ellerby to, Ace, get this contract signed. Sign the fight. I'll do you on the same night, all that good stuff, right? And all of a sudden, the kid snags Floyd Mayweather's hat, snags it, and tries to run off with the hat. But Floyd's, bodyguards, big old vatos, big old dudes, right? Grab a hold of this kid. Got a couple. I don't know if Floyd got a couple of shots. I think Floyd did get a couple of shots, because those angles that they had, people with their camera. What's up with that? I mean, God, folks, you guys are filming. You guys with the cameras and stuff, keep your shit steady. I'm trying to see everything. I'm a fight fan. I want to see hooks and left hooks, but I want to see it clean. You know what I mean? These guys were like holding on the camera like if they were filming Bigfoot or a UFO, where they're like out of focus and you're just like, what the fuck am I watching here? So I wasn't really able to see anything super clean, right? What happened? But later on you saw that. And the kid keeps saying, got your cap, well, got your hat, right? And I'm thinking, this kid might have saved this fight here for his older brother. Because now, in all honesty, let me ask you guys this. If Logan Paul scrapped out of this fight and it was now Jake Paul and Floyd, I think it'd be a much entertaining fight than it would be with Logan. First off, that kid Logan lost, right? If I remember correct, really don't say I don't follow the career, so I couldn't tell you, because when Floyd did say, I fight real fighters, I was like, well, yeah, I watch real fighters. Okay, that's why I'm not going to watch you guys fight on that night, okay? But I think the kid lost. And the other kid is doing a lot better. The kid's more in the boxing forums and community. People are talking more about Jake Paul. They just want more out of the kid who's a prospect. But is actually taking the sport a little bit more serious than I would think of Logan. Now, Logan's a big kid, but in all honesty, come on, that doesn't matter. That doesn't mean shit, unless you're actually a skilled fighter in boxing. Right? Like if this was Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder facing Floyd, then you would be a little concerned for Floyd. You'd be like, I don't know about that, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking that's too much of a leap. But he's not a fighter. He really isn't. And Floyd knows that. So that's why he's taking the fight. And that's why he's even calling it entertainment. He's like, look, I'm entertaining this, Which would have been, if you really want to entertain the people, Floyd, and I get it, you're trying to go after the biggest payday, the easiest money you can stack these dollar signs in your bank account. I get it. More power to you, brother. Go ahead and do it. Okay? If fools are willing to dig into their pockets and dish out their hard-earned money to buy this circus, more power to you. You know what they say, man? Don't hate the player, hate the game. And that's obviously what Floyd is doing. But if he did really want to entertain the world and get the world to even talk a little bit more, maybe I might be wrong about this, maybe I'm off on this, and maybe this is why this Floyd is doing, these millions and millions of dollar fights and stuff, which I don't know if it's going to really sell that much. I think this would be like the lowest sales in his recent fights. It's obviously not going to do with Conor McGregor sales, right? But I thought if he would have said, you know what, Oscar's looking for a comeback, I fight Oscar De La Hoya for a rematch for his out of his retirement. Bang! That to me would have been something I would have said, oh, okay, all right, And I saw that run. The undercard is actually, it's actually pretty interesting. You got Hurd coming back, and then you got Pascal and Badu Jack, who I saw in Vegas training, getting ready. That's not bad, but I don't know, for pay-per-view. But then again, if you paid for the Trilla, obviously this is a far better pay-per-view than what we got from Snoop Dogg and his Trilla Dilla. That wasn't really a deal, right? But Oscar, Floyd, rematch. Tito Trinidad, Floyd, rematch. Costa Zoo, not rematch, they never fought, but Floyd Trinidad, or even like Costa Zoo, hey, we never fought. I know we're out of our prime, but why don't we give the guys a show? Blah, 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 blah. But again, he was looking for the trend name. Even though Oscar would have been still a trend name, especially the performance he gave on Trilla. He stole the show on Trilla. The way Demetrius was trying to steal the show from Canelo, which Canelo didn't allow him to do it, Oscar actually stole the show on that Trilla event, right? So give Oscar a few, throw him a few of those and all, and let him go out there, roll out there in the press conference. It would have been a different press conference from the first time they had faced each other, right? But he's opted out to face these kids. And you know what? This kid, Jake Paul, gave Floyd Mayweather a taste of his own medicine. Remember how much of a brat Floyd Mayweather was? When he came out bursting into the scene, the way he treated Arturo Gatti, the way he treated Carlos Baldomir, the way he acted towards Floyd Mayweather. Oscar De La Hoya, right? He stole his gym bag. He did all the stuff. He did these tactics to get in the head of his opponents. This kid got in his head. And that's not even the kid he's stepping in the ring with. And even Pacquiao. Yep. Now the Pacquiao too. Actually, that's what more folks wanted to see. Wanted to see Pacquiao. But maybe he was looking at Pacquiao like, nah, he's too active still. Beating, Keith, I rarely ever fight anymore, Thurman. I think that Floyd was like, nah, I don't want to revisit that. He did say that Pacquiao was actually the toughest fight for him. And possibly so. Maybe that's why he doesn't want to revisit it. He's not as brave as he was when he fought Jose Luis Castillo. He gave Jose Luis Castillo that rematch because he was questioned whether he wanted or not, which I think he lost. A lot of us thought he lost. If you're a hardcore boxer fan, you watch that fight, the night of the fight, you sat there and you're like, he lost this fight, and then they announced it his way. Everybody's like, holy shit. Even the announcer, everybody knew he lost that fight. And what did he do? Anytime it's really questionable, Floyd came back and gave that person a rematch. He did that with Chino Madonna. Did the same thing. Surprising he didn't want to do that with Pacquiao. But that's because it wasn't really that close. It was kind of competitive, but not super competitive. It wasn't enough where you could say that Pacquiao kind of edged. Where Jose, he won, and with Madonna, that first fight was pretty close. Pretty damn close. It was rehearsed, bro. It was, LT. It definitely was rehearsed. I mean, a lot of the stuff is rehearsed. Look. Anytime you're going to go and do something in an event, you got to sell, especially with these guys, they got to sell the fight. They got to do all this. They got to get out there and they got to make it intriguing. They got to do this. But if you watch that very well scripted back and forth between Floyd and Logan, right? It wasn't intriguing. Like I said, they were literally just reciting what Conor McGregor and Floyd were doing to each other. And Floyd was actually trying to be, more clever with his words, with his comebacks. And he was a little bit, saying, I fight fighters, blah, blah. This kid, Jake Paul, ad-libbed. He just went with his feelings and what he thought would be funny. And you know what? It was funny. What was going on with Floyd's hair, bro? What was going on with all that? And this screaming, I'll kill you and blah, blah, blah. 50 Cent putting out there, like, what's up with your hairline, man? What's going on with that do? And I knew when I saw that picture, I was like, oh, shit. Holy smokes. But, yeah, again, that kid might have saved that fight, but I think it would have been better if it was Jake Paul fighting him. Because I think now more people would want to see that fight than Logan. Logan's got to do something. Definitely got to do something. The hat thing was legit. It definitely was. That was not expected. And I think that anger that Floyd had, I think it was genuine. I think he truly was pissed, because that wasn't part of the show. The banter of each other, Hair plug. Yeah, there was hair plugs, bro. Because you don't anybody trying to say it wasn't bullshit. Go back when Floyd had to go. What was it? 30 days for domestic violence. I mean, and he was letting his hair grow back, and you could see that receiving line was all the way back. You know, so yeah, there's no argument there. And I think that's what probably pissed off Floyd a whole lot, because normally he just shaves his head, and you know you can't really notice it, right? But here, homeboy had like 2 inches of hair on top of his skull, and here comes this little snot-nosed kid and pulls that hat off and trons over. You know what it reminded me? This is what it reminded me of, to tell you the truth, okay? I'm going to tell you right now. If you're from the 90s, if you're a 90s baby, you know, I mean, you grew up in the 90s, you'll know this movie right away. If you grew up in the 90s, okay? Even if now, you should have been able to see it because your parents probably have put this movie up. But the movie with Tom Hanks in Big. Do you guys remember that tennis ball scene where the guy wanted the ball back and Tom Hanks didn't want to give it to him? And you know how many times we've done this? If you have an older brother or a little brother and you snag something away and they're like, give it back to me. And then they're running around and they're chasing each other. And that Tom Hanks scene on the movie Big, that's what it reminded me when I saw Floyd chasing this kid with all his goons, trying to catch this kid, holding on, and this kid's holding on to that hat with dear life. And he was like this, like that, you know, like, you know, here, this and that. And I was cracking up because that was the sequence I had in my head, was when Tom Hanks would not give back that tennis ball to the other guy in the movie Big. That's what I saw. And I thought that's what was funny to me, because it looked like the little brother stealing something from the big brother, and the big brother was just trying to catch him. And you know what? Like Canelo didn't let nobody steal his show. Floyd Mayweather, you dropped the ball. You let some YouTube snot-nosed punk kid steal your show. He stole your thunder. And I think that's what he's even more pissed about, guys, because anytime a big fight's happening or anything that's going on with any fighter like Canelo or anybody, Floyd has been notorious. Very egotistic. Narcissistic, right? What do you call that word? You know, he's got to insert himself. He's got to insert himself so that he's in talks. He's in the news. He's on TMZ. He's headlining ESPN. Everybody's talking about him, from websites to YouTube, etc. He's got to insert himself. And this kid, Jake Paul, who he wasn't worried about, he wasn't trying to steal their thunder. He was trying to take away eyes from Canelo's victory and the Trilla event with Teofimo Lopez coming up. That's what he was doing. But this kid, this little rich kid from YouTube, he gets up there and he's like, nah, bro. Boop. Got your hat. Got your hat. And you became now the butt of jokes. With Conor McGregor, it was different because you guys, you know, hey, man, we're going to, you know, throw things back and forth. We're going to do this and that. But, you know, really, honestly, there's not going to be any physical. There's not going to be, like, you know, some crazy embarrassment. This kid, Jake Paul, gave no F's about it. He was like, I'm taking this dude's hat. This conference was boring. The banter between these two is boring. Let me add to this. And he did. Let me put a big scene into this whole thing, and he did. And Floyd didn't like it because it took away his thunder, what he was trying to do. He was trying to sell a fight between him and the big brother Logan. And Jake was like, I want to be part of it. He invited him. He opened that door. You know what they say? Vampire can't come through the door if you don't invite him. And he let that little bloodsucker there, you know, who seeks all the attention he can get. Look how he gets on Twitter, talk shits to everybody. Goes to the UFC, talk shit, and had the whole UFC crowd booing him. He got the attention this guy's craving, his little vampire. He's going to suck it dry. And Floyd invited him in. when he didn't have to do that. Could have kept the vampire outside of his door. But Floyd was like, yo, I want you too. You're a bum. I fight real fighters. Got your hat. Got your hat. They're going to make t-shirts of that. Got your hat. Now, and even the kid can't even go to the fight now. He's been banned. What kind of petty shit is that? Let the kid go. Who gives a shit, right? And those YouTubers, yeah, they do pranks for a living. Floyd should have known better. I agree with you. So that's it right there, man. My quick takes about those two things about Demetrius Andre trying to crash the party of Canelo. But Canelo was like, hey, it's my party. I'll cry if I want to. And get the fuck out. He certainly did that to Andre. And then Floyd Mayweather trying to steal everybody's thunder, but he didn't foresee that inviting a bloodsucker into your home, that they actually were going to suck you dry. And that's pretty much what happened with Jake Paul taking that hat away from Floyd Mayweather and showing his hair plugs to the whole world. To the whole world. The hair plugs, Floyd is a meme for now. Remember, guys, he's not just the president. He's also a client. Which I ain't gonna make it. I mean, hey, it's all fun and games, man. I lost my hair too, guys. You know, been on YouTube for how many freaking years? Podcasts. I finally lost my kids. The old lady, finally cleaned me out. Clean me out. That's it. My fellows were like, "Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here!" Anyways, guys, this is your boy Dave, 97 Rough. I got to get to bed. It's way past my bedtime, man. And I got to catch my Z so I can get up early in the morning. So I want to do this quick take here on Leaving the Ring. Don't worry, we'll be back Monday for you. Didn't catch our last Monday show. You can catch us on the archives here on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Don't leave it up to the judges because they won't notify you to let you know we're on live. And you go to iTunes, iHeart, Pandora, subscribe to us there so that if you want to listen to us while you're working or commuting or doing whatever, doing some yard work, or you're waiting for the fights to come on and you want to listen to some boxing, well, you tune in to us and we'll keep you guys occupied. Again, I'm your host, Dave Duenas.
Banger Committee.